Prime Minister sets the tone for 2024 elections.
ये इनकी सोच, ये इनकी मर्यादा, सपना भी देखने का सामर्थ्य खो चुके थे.
Battle lines drawn for state of war.
देश के इतने टुकड़े कर चुके हो और टुकड़े करना चाहते हो, कब तक करते रहोगे?
The Prime Minister's most scathing speech since 2014.
एक ही प्रोडक्ट बार बार लॉन्च करने के चक्कर में कांग्रेस की दुकान ताला लगने की नौबत आ गई.
From Nehru to Indira to Rahul Gandhi.
भारत के प्रथम प्रधानमंत्री ने जो कहा था वो पढ़ रहा हूं, नेहरू जी. हिंदुस्तान में काफी मेहनत करने की आदत आम तौर से नहीं है. यानी नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के प्रति सोच थी कि भारतीय आलसी है.
Modi's flaming assault on Parivarvad.
देश ने जितना परिवारवाद का खामियाजा उठाया है और उसका खामियाजा खुद कांग्रेस ने भी उठाया है.
Modi on fire, flames, Pettiness.
आज जो भ्रष्टाचार के आरोप इन पे सिद्ध हो, जो जेलों में समय निकाल करके पैरोल पर आए, आज वॉशिंग मशीन से भी बड़ा कंधे पे लेकर के महिमा मंडन कर रहे हैं ऐसे चोरों का सार्वजनिक जीवन में.
The Prime Minister's political surgical strike is our top focus on India First. This clearly was a 2-hour-long surgical strike, not just on the Congress, but the entire opposition in Parliament. Ab ki baar 400 par was perhaps giving a target to the alliance. But was this also psyops or psychological warfare on the voters, on the opposition? But why the singling out of the Congress party leadership, especially the Nehru-Gandhi family, by the Prime Minister? He launched a frontal attack on the opposition alliance for what he called was Mahima Mandan, or glorification of leaders convicted of corruption, asking what kind of normalization of corruption was this? Has the Prime Minister very clearly set the template for the 2024 poll battle? We debate. I'm Gaurav Sawant. As always, let's get started with the headlines at 10. It's an India Today mega exclusive. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar sets the record straight on the Nijjar controversy, says US handled Nijjar episode sensibly and the ties with the US not hit by the episode. Big FM, Sitharaman and Adhir Ranjan Chowdhury face off. Congress claims non-BJP ruled states are being discriminated against. Nirmala Sitharaman hits back, calls the Congress party's statement politically motivated. Supreme Court makes scathing observations on the Chandigarh mayor elections. Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud says cannot allow murder of democracy, says the poll officer should be prosecuted. Pushkar Singh Dhami cabinet approves the draft Uniform Civil Code bill to be tabled in the assembly on the 6th of February. Uttarakhand to become the first state to adopt the UCC. Big harmony message from Kerala. Congress ally IUML backs the Sri Ram temple, says Mandir and mosque boost secularism. Meanwhile, the left front attacks the Indian Union Muslim League. So just months ahead of this crucial 2024 Lok Sabha battle, Prime Minister Narendra Modi sets the tone for the poll battle in Lok Sabha, saying the BJP will get 370 seats in the elections and the NDA would cross the 400 mark. He also said in his third term, India would become the third largest economy in the world. The Prime Minister's 2-hour-long speech in Lok Sabha saw multiple frontal attacks on the Congress party leadership and the Prime Minister's response on the use of enforcement agencies. Our political bureau with our top story.
और अब की बार पूरा देश कह रहा है, अब की बार खड़गे जी भी कह रहे हैं, लेकिन
an unofficial slogan now sanctified as a formal war cry of the Modi machine. Speeding towards the 2024 election, the Prime Minister's speech in Lok Sabha on Monday provided the BJP a turbo boost.
और अब की बार पूरा देश कह रहा है, अब की बार.
For weeks now, the Ab Ki Baar 400 Par chant has become inextricable from Team Modi's mission objective. The Prime Minister's consecration of this war cry comes in the wake of this taunt by the Congress president last week.
ज्यादा से ज्यादा 100-125 दिन बाकी और अब की बार पूरा देश कह रहा है, अब की बार खड़गे जी भी कह रहे हैं.
आपका इतना बहुमत है, अब तो पहले 330, 334 की, अब ने तो 400 पार हो रहा है.
Bristling with election energy and confidence, the Prime Minister aimed his 1-hour 40-minute speech squarely at the opposition and the election that looms just weeks from now in the backdrop of a disintegrating opposition. On Twitter, Home Minister Amit Shah echoed the Prime Minister's words, setting in stone the BJP's official chant, one that will echo through the next few weeks.
और अब की बार पूरा देश कह रहा है, अब की बार.
In 2019, the BJP won 303 seats by itself, with the NDA mopping up 353 seats. With Modi's war cry now unleashed, the BJP is looking to bag at least 370 seats by itself, with the NDA crossing the 400-seat mark.
370 सीट अवश्य देगा.
For the Modi juggernaut, the BJP's victory in 2024 appears to be a foregone conclusion. They see the challenge now as how big their victory can really be. Bureau Report, India Today.
And the opposition returned the Prime Minister's fire. The opposition said this is just plain election rhetoric. There is no way that the BJP is getting 370 on its own. The opposition's main aim is to restrict the BJP to under 270. Let's listen in to multiple voices that are coming in from the opposition, but principally the Congress party that was singled out by the Prime Minister with his attack. Let's listen into the Congress response.
It's unfortunate that 10 years and the Prime Minister still doesn't have much to talk about his own government. Even today when he opens his mouth, he attacks Nehruji, he attacks Rahul Gandhi, he attacks the Congress party. Now I don't understand how come the Prime Minister cannot show anything in his own report card and all that he has to do is attack the opposition. Why? The responsibility to attack lies with the opposition. The responsibility to question the ruling party lies with the opposition. You can't play that role. You are the Prime Minister. But in any case, if you are rehearsing to play the role of the opposition, you've done very well. Believe me, 2024 results, Mr. Prime Minister, you will sit in the opposition.
देखिए, बहुत मोदी जी के स्टैंडर्ड्स के अनुसार बहुत बुरा स्पीच था. वो बहुत थके लगते थे, कोई नई चीज नहीं कहा और जो भी उन्होंने कहा बहुत कई बार सुन चुके हैं. जैसे कि नामदार कामदार, नेहरू जी के देहांत होके 60 साल हो गए फिर भी यही कह रहा है कि नेहरू जी की गीत गाते ही रहते हैं कांग्रेस के खिलाफ. देखिए, आप कांग्रेस से गए 10 साल पहले, आप तो सत्ते में है 10 साल से, आप अपनी ही चीज वो अपनी जिम्मेदारी ले लीजिए.
ये तो इंडिया शाइनिंग पार्ट 2 है और 2004 में क्या हुआ था ऐसे ही बीजेपी वाले बात किए थे। और दूसरी बात है 370 सीट नहीं आएंगे ना, वो वोट नहीं लेंगे क्या, वो प्रधानमंत्री का वोट नहीं लेंगे क्या, ये सारे चीज़ सिर्फ इनका सपना है। और ये दूसरा इंडिया शाइनिंग पार्ट 2 होगा।
बहुत ही अहंकारी भाषा, जैसे एक अहंकारी राजनेता बोलता है उस तरीके से। देखिए, विनम्रता है ही नहीं। देश की जनता को चुनना है 2024, आप कैसे इतने अहंकारी? अहंकार देश की जनता नहीं होना चाहिए। आपको ईवीएम पर इतना अहंकार है कि आप ईवीएम के जरिए दोबारा
The battle lines very clearly drawn for 2024. Joining me on this India First special is Shazia Ilmi representing the BJP. Tehseen Poonawala gives us the opposition perspective, a political analyst, and also Amitabh Tiwari joins us on this broadcast, watching these elections and these political developments very closely. Shazia, the opposition says this is the India Shining Moment 2.0. Ahankar hai ye is sarkar ka, that they're returning for a third term even before the first vote has been cast.
Gaurav, the opposition is simply exasperated because India has taken a shine to Modi government, to BJP and all its policies, because they believe, and this is not a slogan for us when we say 400 par, it is a wish not of the BJP but of the citizens of this country who want a better deal, a better life for themselves, for their families, for their neighborhoods, for their states. So this is not so much about BJP and Modi ji, but for the dignity, security and prosperity of every Indian citizen. So if India takes a shine to Modi ji, there's precious little the opposition can do.
Okay.
And India is shining. India is going to be the third biggest economy. India is the fastest growing economy. India is fifth largest economy in the world. I can also talk about the inflation rates. I can talk about unemployment. I can talk about all of that.
We will in bits, but I just wanted an opening comment.
The matter is that India takes a shine to one person, knowing very well that Modi ki guarantee, it is Modi's guarantee which makes the future better.
Okay. Tehseen Poonawala, the BJP says this is Modi ki guarantee. The opposition had mocked the Prime Minister on Ram Mandir. The opposition had mocked the Prime Minister on 370. He's done it both. Tehseen Poonawala, the BJP insists that the Prime Minister's confidence of 370 comes from 10 years of his hard work and promising the country that we'll become the third largest economy in the next 5 years.
Gaurav, I've modified a poem. I will just use those modified lines. बीजेपी इंसाफ दे न सकी, आशीष समाज की ले न सकी, उल्टे विपक्ष को बांधने चली, जो था असाध्य साधने चली। जब नाच मनुज पर जाता है, पहले विवेक मर जाता है। इनका विवेक मर गया है। तो ठीक है, घमंड दुर्योधन का भी था। दुर्योधन का भी यही घमंड था। क्या हाल हुआ हमने देखा है। The fact of the matter is that yes, we are the fifth largest economy in the world. And Gaurav, you, I, Amitabh, even Shah, they're very proud of it being the fifth largest economy in the world. But there's a grim reality, Gaurav. We have the worst unemployment in the last 45 years. And the EPFO data is not a barometer for employment. A basic student of commerce will tell you, you don't even need to be a student of economics. The Honorable Prime Minister in his interview to India Today, which was taken by very able colleagues, three of your very able colleagues, has admitted that they don't have data for employment, whether it is in the organized or unorganized sector. The fact of the matter is the NCRB data under the very Honorable Home Minister of India says every youngsters in India are committing suicide every 2 hours. Every 2 hours, one young Indian, Gaurav, younger than you and I, is losing his life for want of jobs. 80% of graduates in India are unemployed. This is a terrible crisis. Yes, the Prime Minister may talk about inflation being lower than UPA era, and I don't want to get into it, but just let your viewers know, and your viewers will answer this question, perhaps on social media to you, that India's savings, household savings, is the lowest it's ever been in 70 years. It's the lowest. Yes, there are people who are getting rich. There's a section that's getting rich, and I'm not against them getting rich.
Okay.
I am actually a capitalist. But the problems in India are manifold. Then the opposition is not able to agree on that.
So the opposition is unable to bring out these problems?
But what the Prime Minister is saying is simply untrue.
Okay, the government keeps getting elected again and again, and the Prime Minister is confident of numbers of 370, and he's taking that battle into the opposition camp, Tehseen. But let me get Amitabh to respond to this. The specific number of 370, linked directly to Article 370, the Prime Minister says strong on delivering of agenda, whether it was Ram Mandir, whether it's Article 370, is talking about NDA going 400 par, psychological warfare, psyops on opposition voters, Amitabh.
See, essentially, with the return of JDU, NDA is back to almost 350, which was its tally in 2019. Now, if you see the 2019 results, BJP was second on 72 seats. If there is just a 5% swing in favor of the BJP on these 72 seats, it will end up winning 38 more seats, taking its tally to 342 on its own. Now, where does this confidence come from, this 5% swing in favor of the BJP? It is largely coming from a very weakened opposition. It is largely coming from the captain of the opposition being in very poor form. Because see, for the opposition to win, the Congress party will have to defeat BJP in the 200 odd head-to-head contest, where unfortunately for the Congress party, the regional parties do not have any vote share. So Congress is largely on its own in its 200 seats. The second aspect where the confidence is coming from is the positive fervor which has been created in the country post the inauguration of the Ram Mandir. It has bound the south and the north as well. And the third largest factor is the work on the beneficiaries. So the four castes which the BJP is talking about, the Garib, Mahila, Kisan and Yuva, the schemes which the Prime Minister Modi has created has broken the barriers and the middlemen, and the benefits are largely being received in the accounts directly by these 3 or 4 cohorts. And these 3 or 4 cohorts comprise for the largest section of the population. It in a way also breaks or neutralizes the caste-based census or the attempt by the opposition to play the caste card ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections.
Okay, so a weakened opposition is a major reason why the government is so confident of 2024. But this frontal attack, weakened opposition, weakened leadership of the opposition, and is this the reason why one after the other the Prime Minister chose to attack not just the Congress party in general, but the leadership from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to Indira Gandhi to Rahul Gandhi? Listen in.
लाल किले से भारत के प्रथम प्रधानमंत्री ने जो कहा था वो पढ़ रहा हूं, नेहरू जी ने। उन्होंने कहा था, हिंदुस्तान में काफी मेहनत करने की आदत आम तौर से नहीं है। ये न समझिए कि वह कौमें कोई जादू से खुशहाल हो गई, वो मेहनत से हुई है और अक्ल से हुई है। ये उनको सर्टिफिकेट दे रहे हैं, भारत के लोगों को नीचा दिखा रहे हैं। यानी नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के प्रति सोच थी कि भारतीय आलसी है। नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के लिए सोच थी कि भारतीय कम अक्ल के लोग होते हैं। लाल किले से 15 अगस्त को इंदिरा जी ने कहा था, दुर्भाग्यवश हमारी आदत ये है कि जब कोई शुभ काम पूरा होने को होता है तो हम आत्मतुष्टि की भावना से ग्रस्त हो जाते हैं, और जब कोई कठिनाई आ जाती है तो हम नाउम्मीद हो जाते हैं। आज कांग्रेस के लोगों को देख करके लगता है कि इंदिरा जी भले देश के लोगों का आकलन सही न कर पाए, लेकिन कांग्रेस का एकदम सटीक आकलन उन्होंने किया। एक ही प्रोडक्ट बार बार लॉन्च करने के चक्कर में कांग्रेस की दुकान ताला लगने की नौबत आ गई है। और ये दुकान हम नहीं कह रहे, आप लोग कह रहे हैं। आप लोग कहते हैं दुकान खोलिए, सब जगह पे बोलते हैं। दुकान को ताला लगने की बात आई।
Direct attack on the dynasty from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to Indira Gandhi to the Mohabbat ki dukan, where the Prime Minister says ताला लगने की नौबत आ गई है. तहसीन पूनावाला respond to the criticism that the opposition is weakened and the opposition leadership is weak, and that is why the government and the Prime Minister actually are steamrolling ahead.
The opposition, of course, is weakened. There's no doubt about it. But it's been weakened by a number of factors, including agencies whose misuse the Prime Minister spoke about or tried to hide behind, but it's been terrible. So the opposition is weakened. I won't deny that on your show. I mean, I do television 5 hours a day, and 99% of the shows that I do over the last 10 years blame the opposition for everything, and that's the reality of the times we're living in. But that's not an excuse why that I want to get behind. Look, you can attack all the former prime ministers. That's fine. The fact of the matter is the Prime Minister didn't speak about his achievements of demonetization. Why didn't he speak about it? Why didn't he say that when he went to South Korea, he said, nobody was proud to be born in India? So the Prime Minister has also made utterances which should not have been made by anybody sitting in a constitutional post. In my opinion, everybody who's been Prime Minister, including our current Prime Minister, does not want to do anything bad in the country. In hindsight, mistakes happen. Prime Minister Modi has made mistakes. Demonetization was a terrible mistake that caused a lot of suffering. The sudden lockdown caused 130 odd deaths. It was a sudden and it caused terrible suffering. But you understand the larger picture. You understand the larger.
You're
good.
silent on that Mohabbat ki dukan being band. You know, I want to, for the moment, stay on the specific charges that are being made today. You and I have debated this several times. I thought we'll discuss on the topics that are, that are points that are being made today.
Sure, I can talk on the Mohabbat ki dukan. So just 10 seconds. 10 seconds, I'll just say.
Go on,
sir. Shadha, do you want me to speak or you? No problem. I'll take 10 seconds. The Prime Minister may wish that the Congress shuts down, but the Congress is India's political party. It is a party that in a lot of ways is the soul of this country. He may wish the soul of this country is trampled upon. It won't happen. Okay. Yes, the Congress is going through a tough time, but believe me, the Congress will emerge stronger. It does need to set the narrative correct, but the wish of the Prime Minister to see a Congress Mukh Bharat, that is, India without a soul, will not happen.
Okay, you're saying Congress is soul of Bharat, but does the Prime Minister actually want Congress Mukt Bharat? Or Shazia Ilmi, is the Prime Minister really very keen to ensure that Rahul Gandhi remains the face of the opposition? Because then it very directly becomes Rahul Gandhi versus Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Shazia Ilmi.
I really think we should raise the bar, especially when it comes to talking about a party which is led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's this mentality and this pettiness, which is the reason why the opposition can't comprehend the agenda of BJP, which is a secure, prosperous India and a better India. And I think this is where there is a lack of understanding.
No, but why this desperation, as the opposition says, why don't you talk about your achievements instead of criticizing Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi? Shashi Tharoor says Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has been dead for over 60 years.
No, but we do talk about, so Prime Minister did talk about 25 crore Indians being lifted out of multidimensional poverty. 25 crores? Can you even think of that? And tell me something, when you're talking about 80 crore Indians getting free rations, 25 crore Indians getting out of multi-dimensional poverty, when you're looking at the great strides that have been made in the social sector and health sector, when you look at whether it's, I mean, I can go on and on. There's a whole list I can read out and tell you. And whether it's Ujjwala or it's Swanidhi or it's Vishwakarma Yojana, I mean, or it's Honhar Yojana or Hunar Yojana, I mean, I can just go on and it will just, you won't have that much time.
I want to understand from Amitabh, this targeting of the Gandhi family, the Nehru Gandhi family.
I want to answer that. Tell me something, when you're talking about, they're saying we're not talking about what is BJP's agenda. 60 years or, 6 decades versus 1 decade. Do you not think that governance at that point of time, or the administration or the lack of it, or the huge mistakes that have led us to where we are since 10 years should be talked about? Should there be a hisab kitab and an audit, a political audit of what has gone on in terms of policies, the promise and the delivery, and where the common man or woman stands today, So the Prime Minister is raising
Gaurav, I
the
need one
question.
line.
It's
Okay.
very important.
Okay, quick one line before
I
I
need
bring in
one line
Mr.
if you're
Tiwari.
sure.
Go on, Mr. Poonawalla.
My dear friend Shazia, I have a lot of respect for her, but when she says 6 decades versus 1 decade, that 6 decades included decade of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, 11 years Prime Minister. So the BJP of today even chooses to run down Atal Bihari Vajpayee because the Congress governed for 5
I'm talking
decades.
about six.
But
I
please,
said almost
Shazia
6 decades of
I just take
Congress
one
rule.
line. Shazia I have not interrupted you. Just one line more. Just one line. I want to speak. When you say that the health indicators have improved and you speak about the multidimensional poverty report, please understand that not only were these indicators flawed, but today our country, and Gaurav, your viewers are free to again reach out to your social media, is suffering a massive pandemic of heart attacks caused by malnutrition in our country, which is the highest. You may laugh at it, Shazia ji, that's your wife. 80
I'm
crore
not
Indians,
laughing.
if you're going to be feed,
I'm just
if you're going to
laughing
feed them,
at your
Shazia ji, please let my
desperation
points
to
come
bandy
across.
around facts.
Shazia ji, please allow my points to
Okay,
come
I
across.
want to bring in
Please allow
Amitabh
my
into
points
this
to come across.
conversation because I'm focusing on what the Prime Minister has said today very specifically. And Amitabh Tiwari, is this an attempt to, while the Prime Minister may talk of Congress Mukt Bharat, the BJP is very keen that the Congress remains and it becomes a Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi election. Is that what this entire attempt, even in Lok Sabha today, was, Mr. Tiwari?
See, in every Hindi movie, you have to have the hero has to have or defeats the villain in the end, correct? So I'm not comparing Rahul Gandhi to villain, but he has to show his charisma and defeat somebody, correct? So in political strategy, when you prop up somebody, this is part of a strategy to propping up somebody so that it becomes, or Rahul Gandhi becomes the direct challenger or the one-to-one competitor to Narendra Modi in this election, because Narendra Modi or the Prime Minister realizes that he leads by far in popularity ratings versus Rahul Gandhi, and he needs a punching bag also of sorts when he goes to the election. See, whenever any performance is tom-tommed by any government, for the lack of any word, it has to be comparative. It cannot be absolute. Absolute does not mean anything. Okay. And what Modi ji has done over the years is that he has, from the start of his tenure, tried to set the narrative that his 10-year performance has been better than the combined performance of all the prime ministers, including his prime minister or his government of the BJP. And by doing so, what he does is that he does not only compare his performance with Manmohan Singh's government performance, but with all the prime ministers combined, and that, if the voter is convinced, sends a very big message that his development is by far much more than everybody combined together. Okay. Correct? So that sets the narrative to a voter who is convinced about what he is trying to say.
And which brings me to my next point. Even when it's a weakened opposition, and while the opposition may say it's the use of enforcement directorate and in other prosecution agencies, the Prime Minister's attack wasn't restricted just to the Congress, but to the opposition bloc. But even there, he blamed the Congress for it. Let's listen in.
कांग्रेस का विश्वास हमेशा सिर्फ एक परिवार पर रहा है। एक परिवार के आगे वो न कुछ सोच सकते हैं, न कुछ देख सकते हैं। कुछ दिन पहले भानुमति का कुनबा जोड़ा, लेकिन फिर एकला चलो रे करने लग गए। कांग्रेस के लोगों ने नया नया मोटर मैकेनिक का काम सीखा है और इसलिए अलाइनमेंट क्या होता है उसका ज्ञान तो हो गया होगा, लेकिन मैं देख रहा हूं अलायंस का ही अलाइनमेंट बिगड़ गया। इनको अपने इस कुनबे में अगर एक दूसरे पर विश्वास नहीं है तो ये लोग देश पर विश्वास कैसे करेंगे?
Amitabh Tiwari, I want to begin by asking you, has the Prime Minister taken the sting out of the opposition attack when he directly attacks the opposition India alliance on the issue not just of corruption but saying कि वो महिमा मंडन कर रहे, glorification of people who've been convicted of massive corruption?
The Prime Minister has clearly set the tone because he has in the past said on many occasions that the government has zero tolerance for corruption. So the ED searches or the CBI income tax raids on a lot of the opposition politicians, and in fact some of them landing in jail, does lend credence to his direct charge on the opposition, because the party wants to make corruption as a big issue. In 2014 as well, it rode on the corruption charges against the UPA too. However, there is one point here, is that if an incumbent wants to raise corruption as an issue, it has to show track record of convictions. Perhaps the BJP feels that arrests itself are a track record sort of. And one thing I just want to add is that when you said that even while targeting opposition, it is targeting the Congress party, or he was targeting the Congress, the BJP or the Modi dispensation has the confidence that it can take on Congress in any state. Whereas wherever there are regional parties in states, it is there where the BJP faces significant challenges. That's why the direct attack on Congress being made.
Okay, Tehseen Poonawala, I will take that question to the BJP washing machine, to Shazia Ilmi, but I want to understand from you, does having somebody like a Lalu Yadav in the opposition alliance, you know, when the Prime Minister says kandhe par bitha ke mahima mandan kar rahe hain aise logon ka who are convicted of corruption, does that take the sting out of the opposition alliance?
Because the Prime Minister says it, yes, but the BJP is the only national party in the history of this country whose national president was convicted, Bangaru Lakshmanji, for taking money on a non-existent defense deal on camera. So the BJP has no moral right to preach. I mean, the Honorable Prime Minister said Ajit Pawar 70,000 crores scam next day was in his party. Forget that. Let me tell you some magic.
We'll take all these points to BJP. But answer me on Lalu Yadav, sir. I will talk to BJP about all the corrupt or the alleged corruption cases in the BJP or the NDA. But you answer me on Lalu Yadav.
Nothing. No, there's nothing, because Lalu Yadav is not contesting an election. In fact, it was Rahul Gandhi who tore the ordinance so he could not contest an election, something the BJP criticizes him for day in and day out. If it was not for Rahul Gandhi, he would have been in parliament today. The fact is Rahul Gandhi took a stand against it.
Respond, Shazia Ilmi. Respond, Shazia Ilmi.
Can I ask Shazia one question? Shazia, tell me, without Googling, tell me the Lokpal of India.
Tell me, respond, Shazia Ilmi, that BJP की washing machine में जो धुल जाता है, उसके खिलाफ कोई जांच नहीं होती.
So I have answered that question many times, and the fact of the matter is that our Prime Minister has led the most honest, cleanest cabinet ever in the history of this country. I remember a time when every department, every ministry, every minister reeked of scandal, scams, and con jobs.
Sir,
this is the first
ma'am, I'll talk to the
not
Congress about corruption in their cases, but I want to know about the BJP washing machine, that charge that's been leveled.
Yeah, that has been answered. That's what they always say. What stops them from going to courts if they feel that a particular person is being protected? And the fact of the matter is, nobody,
ultimately,
not a single
about 2 months to go for polling, and it remains for the voter to respond. But the Prime Minister's response on the use of agencies was very clear. 5,000 crore rupee cases by ED during the UPA regime, and he's given out figures for the NDA regime. And we'll be tracking that story very closely.